Hey YouTubers, Electric Adventures here with my monthly update for August 2014. So this is my monthly video where I talk about the month that was and just general occurrences. I usually include pickups that I don't do gameplays on. Usually that's the modern stuff. Hopefully give you all an update on my homebrew developments, and I actually do have some this month, and try and answer a community question if I can find some. Just for life, the universe and everything, it's been a bit of a challenging month. My eldest daughter has moved out into a flat. It's an interesting stage in one's life when one of your children moves away from home. My second eldest hasn't been very well. Nothing that she can't recover from, but going to be some interesting times ahead there, so I've been a little stressed and busy with that. Plus my work's been pretty busy, but I have found a way to get back into my homebrew development, which is stalled for a little while, but I'll cover that a little later. So enough of those sort of things. People don't really want to know about life things like that. So let's get on with the games. So other pickups, not a lot. It is basically one lot of PS3 games that I got out of a special bin, and it was a 3 for special, so that's the only reason why there are 3. The first one, I did get this as part of the PSN free downloads, but especially for games I like, I can't stand to not have a physical copy. And so that's Dead Space 3. So these games are really cheap. They're not in perfect condition. They've got, I mean, they're not that bad, but they do have dings and things on them. The discs aren't scratched though. I checked those. I don't think this one has a full manual, or maybe the original game didn't come with a manual, but that doesn't. I don't really care about that. But the disc is in good condition. So I haven't quite started Dead Space 3 because I haven't quite finished Wolfenstein, the New Order, which I've been enjoying immensely, and I've been playing every chance I can get. But I'll be starting Dead Space 2 very soon. Although there's probably another game in here that will distract me a bit more. I've already played a little bit on it. Then the next one, and this is sort of the another game that I got just because I need to get 3, and the last game is the one I really wanted. I haven't even removed all the stickers off this one, but I do collect James Bond's games, so I haven't heard anything about this game, Bloodstone 007. So I haven't played it yet. But I do in general principle enjoy Bond games. As you can see, the manual's just a little curly on the corners, but the disc is fine. And I don't actually have a Bond game for the PS3 yet, so it's interesting. I've got several for the PS2 and I've got several for the GameCube, and some for the PS1 even, but nothing for the PS3, so I will actually enjoy that one. And this is another game that I've actually had a watch on eBay for a while after seeing Croooow 111 do gameplays of each of the titles on this collection, and it looked rather interesting. And lo and behold, in this special bin, which is what prompted me to buy the other ones, was Midway Arcade Origins. And I mean, I know I've probably got a lot of these games, a lot of other collections, but there are games on here that I don't actually have versions of. Especially things like, sorry, hold it still, Robotron and Sinistar. I mean, there's both Spy Hunters on there, Smash TV's on there as well, Wizard of War, there's Gauntlet, Defender, Joust, heaps and heaps of great games on that one. My camera goes back, and I mean, the case is a little tatty. If I was too inclined I could swap it out, but the instructions are okay and the disc's okay, so in no stretch of the imagination collecting PS3 games. I just get ones that I'm interested in playing, and I do have a bit of a backlog, and I am very singular game focused, so I'll play something to death. But Midway Arcade Origins is just one of those ones where I could just chuck the disc in and have a couple of quick gameplays of those arcade games. So I'm actually looking forward to giving those a good go. So that's it for the other pickups for the month. I mean, if you watch my other pickup videos, I pretty much, I did pretty good with some of the other pickups I got last month, so there wasn't really a need to get anything else for the modern systems. And I'm behind. Like, I mean, I kept away from Vita games because I'm still several games behind playing those as well. Yeah, I don't like to have too much of a backlog, so, but I'm working on it and having some fun. Now, next, a community question. I didn't do a lot of research on this, but this is one that popped up only in the last few days by Novabug, and it's an interesting question. Do you consider yourself an accomplished game player? And it's the whole question of, you know, what does the accomplished mean? I mean, for somebody to say, you know, you might first, as he said exactly the same thing, you might first say, yes, I'm pretty good at games and everything like that. But it comes down to the general question of, you know, how many different types of games do you actually play, and how good are you? And if you, you know, sat down at a random lot of games, how well would you do? I mean, I'd like to think that I would do reasonably well in some sort of games, probably the more action-orientated, especially shoot-'em-ups. I do generally tend to do reasonably well at shoot-'em-ups, but even I don't do well at every shoot-'em-up. Now, I mean, like this month I've been playing and setting some high scores for Indigo's high score table on the Atari 2600. Now, I don't sit down and play those games every day or every week even. Some of those ones I did high scores on. I do cold, sit down, play a game. I might do a second game if I really stuff up, but it's usually a cold game. So that generally tends to suggest that I'm reasonably, you know, good at playing those games. But they are games that I'm familiar with the mechanics. Other games that I've never played before, especially I haven't played a lot of platformers, so I'm not particularly good at platformers. About the only platformer that I'm any good at is Load Runner, and that's more a puzzle single screen platformer. Recently I got some Mega Man titles for the first time, and I've been trying to play those, but I'm not very good at them at all. So, you know, experienced gamer, yes, but accomplished gamer, probably no. And you know, probably I'd have to sit and play games a lot more than I do to actually become a you know, to be happily be able to say that I'm an accomplished gamer. I mean, I've never played an online multiplayer game like World of Warcraft. You know, it's a genre completely. And actually, for that matter, I haven't actually played an online first-person shooter. I've played lots of first-person shooters, and I'm reasonably good at them, but I only play the single-player campaigns. About the only multiplayer thing I've done, I've played multiplayer GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64, but that's with local players. I'm not too bad at racing games. I wouldn't say I'm fantastic at racing games. I don't come first in those playing single player all the time, so don't think I'm fantastic at those ones. So yeah, an interesting question. So I won't waffle on about it too much, but it's just something I thought I'd answer. So make sure you go check out Novabug's original video. I'll put a link down below, and maybe do an answer yourself. Now on to the next part of my video. A homebrew update. Yes, I have actually accomplished something this month. I mean, in all fairness, Pixidis, which I'll hopefully put some video up now, as long as the capture went okay. I've been working on this game for a while, the conversion to the ColecoVision. I made a decision a while back to, before I was making it support the Super Game module, in other words, using the extra memory from that. But the sound effects in the original game weren't flash because I didn't spend a lot of time on them. So converting the sound wasn't a problem, it was only really managing the memory. And I had a couple of ideas of how I could do that without having to worry about the Super Game module, so I have now made the game run perfectly on a normal ColecoVision without a Super Game module. It's all running reasonably smoothly. I've got a bug that has been hanging around for 2 months now. You may have noticed it in the gameplay if I have waffled long enough to get to the section. But the game is generally working well. I only really need to... I want to add more sound to it because I'm still not happy with the sound. So it's just me being fussy. And this is a game that I wrote many years ago, 1986. So when something's not something you started fresh recently and you're working on old stuff, you can get a bit tired of it. So I think I went a little bit stale on that. I also have, and I've mentioned this several times, a project I'm working on for somebody else. Can't show you screenshots of that one, but that one's actually making progress as well. And then it was only recently I was playing Seaquest on the Atari 2600, and I'm sitting there and going, wow, this is an Activision game that was never converted to the Coleco or on the MSX, and I actually really enjoyed this game, and I wonder whether I could make a version for the Coleco. And I sat down and I actually had an entire Saturday where nobody was home, just me, and it was raining outside, so I didn't have to do the garden or anything like that. So I sat down and I created some graphics and put some things together, and I just started building the game. And the gameplay that you're seeing, hopefully, while I'm talking about this, gives you a little snippet, isn't it? So not a lot of the actual gameplay that is there at the moment, but the you know, I think it's looking quite nice, like fairly similar to the Atari 2600 version. If you haven't seen the Atari 2600 version, just look at one of my recent gameplays of the Atari 2600. I'll put a link down below for those that haven't seen it. And it's progressing quite well. Now obviously I have a lot more game mechanics to go. The original game didn't let you select everything, you just went straight into the game and played it. I'm going to make it so you can play 2 players, you know, alternating. So the score, instead of just staying in the middle, will be on the left or the right depending on which player you are. I may potentially have an enhanced version, so this is where I posted a little snippet on the Atari Age forums, and one person said, oh, you know, they like the game but they wouldn't mind it having some extra things in it, like bosses and things like that. So I'll have a think about that, because I don't think the game's going to be very big, so it won't hurt to have you know, other game modes where you can have maybe different enemies and things like that. And I may even still use a different graphic technique. At the moment I'm using all sprites for all of the enemies and the main ship. It probably wouldn't be very hard for me to use you know, pre-scrolled characters to get rid of some of the flickering, but I do have a reasonably good flicker routine. So, but yeah, it just depends on how it looks on a real Coleco. I haven't tried it on that yet, just on the emulator. I'd also like to, in hopefully both of those gameplays, you should have seen that both of the games have an opening logo with Electric Adventures on it, so which is something I've been trying to do, but you know, it's motivation laziness. And Wouter, the Highlander, I'd like to give a little shout out here, gave me some assistance with 8-bitting my Electric Adventures logo, and I'd like to thank him a lot. I still need to do a little bit of manual editing. The same goes for the Seaquest entry 99 entry screen, which I took using similar techniques. I took the box art from Seaquest Atari 2600, and I've gone and converted it and hand edited it, but it needs more hand editing to get some of the colour matching right, because you've only got well, 15 colours. One of them, there are 16, but one of them is transparent, and you've only got so many shades and things like that, and you've got colour closeness limitations, nowhere near as bad as the Spectrum, but you still do have limitations, so you've always got to do a bit of hand editing. And also to support all this development and to spur me on a little bit, I've actually gone and updated my website, so my Electric Adventures website, and I've added blogs for each of the games that I'm working on. Now, I've only just put the introductory content for each of them. So currently my titles that I'm talking about are Pixie Disc Seaquest 99 and my Scramble clone Cavern Fighter, which was an unreleased, unfinished game of mine from about 1987, I think it was. And all 3 of those I'm working on. Cavern Fighter's not in a runnable condition on the Coleco yet, so that's why I haven't put any video in here. I've also been, I said this is why I suppose I'm not making particular progress. I've been jumping around doing lots of things. For the original Spec video, if you want to make a cartridge, when it boots up, the cartridge is in the same place as the basic ROM, so you've got to do a lot of the startup and stuff, and don't want to get too technical here. I know how to make games for the Spec video where they load in basics there and you load them in as a binary file, so a tape title, but I need to understand how to make cartridge game. There weren't very many cartridges made for the Spectre video, but I do have disassembled versions of each of those, and I've been making my own template, which I'll share. I made a template for assembly language programming for the Coleco, which I put on Atari Age, and I'm doing the same thing for the original Spectre video, just to allow others to be able to, you know, have a go at a bit of a homebrew as well. And that's purely interest sakes for myself. For the original Spectre video, I don't expect very many people at all to actually want a cartridge produced for the Spectre video. And I did produce some PCBs a while back, but I haven't been able to get those working. But it's probably only a very simple thing wrong. That's something I need to continue working on. I also have improved my sprite editor, which I've had at least one request from Dave Webster to do a video on my sprite editor, and that will be coming soon. And I have also done some work on some compression tools, so I have been doing way more than before, which was virtually none. So progress has been made, and go check out my website. More people will check it out, more impetuous it will be for me to actually update it. So I've been very bad at updating that content. Now, while I was upgrading my website, obviously computer programmer, I've upgraded other parts of the website as well. So there is a collection part. So I'm going to start the mammoth task of putting my collection on my website as well. So I'll start with the hardware systems, and then probably my MSX collection, and branch out from there as far as the software titles are concerned. So I hope my waffly monthly video hasn't been too waffly or too long, and that you've enjoyed it. I quite enjoy doing these monthly videos. Also, yeah, my homebrew updates have been well received. I need to do some more research on those. Homebrew games are actually hard to find out about. You've got to search and look on the right forums. So hopefully by me doing those updates, more people can find out about these homebrews, and then we get more homebrews. So that'll be great. So another one of those coming up in probably about a week. I have another pickup that arrived today. I've already recorded the box on opening, but I've got to record the gameplays, which is probably going to take me a couple of days, because you know, busy during the week and don't normally get to do gameplays until the weekend in most cases. So anyway, once again, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope I didn't waffle too much. Thanks to all my subscribers, and I'll catch you on next time.